Hi, my name's Dave. Welcome back to One Breath at a Time. No cure, no filter, just my story. Okay, welcome to episode 5. A new life. Last time I told you what that apprenticeship actually cost me. The dust, the doors, the pipework, all of it. I left you at the edge of something new because after all that, I didn't stay in Somerset. I didn't stay in England at all. I want to tell you about the part of my life where I thought I left all that behind for good. I hate that glare. Do you? So, that watch again. Okay. Before I get to Canada, there's a stretch in my life I haven't told you about yet. After the apprenticeship ended, the building industry hit a rough patch. Yeah, I still painted, with, you'll find that out in the book with another company. That's some great times, but yeah, it was getting slower and tougher. Work dried up pretty fast, and a lot of tradesmen, myself included, found themselves scrambling, and over the next while I bounced back and forth between different jobs, different sites, wherever the work happened to be at that month, year, and I was quite fortunate. I tended not to be out of the link of work for any length of time. So again, in the book you'll see how I bounced from job to job, quite fortunately, and I met tons of people, hundreds of them, and just a few really who mattered, real characters, friends who stuck around one way or another. Some didn't, I'm not going to try and squeeze all of them into a video. They deserve better than a rushed mention here. You'll meet them properly in my book. But that stretch taught me something too. How to adapt. How to keep moving when the trade you trained for suddenly wasn't steady anymore. And that restlessness is part of what eventually pointed me towards trying somewhere completely and utterly different, There's a particular feeling to starting over in a country that isn't the one you grew up in. Everything's just slightly different in a way that keeps you a little off balance for a while. Driving on the wrong side of the road, that's one of them. The way they talk, the size of the sky, especially, Saskatchewan is called the land of the living skies. Well, yeah, because it stretches for miles. Beautiful, and the distance between one town and the next. A lot of Brits can agree with me when somebody asks you for directions. You just say, just drive down the road, past the next village, get into town, second traffic light on the right, past the Bull and Butcher pub. There's a fish and chip shop there. That's probably what you're after. Over here, no, it's completely different. It's okay, drive north for X amount of kilometers, on a grid road, and then take a left and head east, north, east. Well, I don't understand none of that. I still don't after 20 odd years, so yeah, it's a lot to get used to, the wide open spaces. And my wife, bless her, we were in the city when I first came over here, and I was in, I think it was 2004, 4 or 5, something like that. Yeah, brain's a bit foggy. I had a tough week at work. Concreting, well, not concreting, hammerjacking. Sorry, jackhammering for a whole week. Thick concrete through rebar and everything. So yeah, been a tough week. Body's feeling it. So where was it? Yes. So yeah, coming to about 2004 or 5. Looking for exactly that, a fresh start after, I won't go into it too much, failed marriage, I guess you could call it. They say it takes two to tango, but I'm not the one who tangoed with two. I'll leave it there. It's in the book. And again, that's one of the reasons why I decided to do what I did. So, a fresh start. Somerset behind me, RM Smith was behind me, the Hobby Horse Inn. It's a bit of a mouthful when you're tired. And the dust, all of it. And as far as I was concerned, that whole chapter of my life was closed, filed away, done with. And I didn't know yet that you don't always get to decide when a chapter actually finished. Somewhere in the middle of building this new life, I met a woman, a beautiful woman. And I'm not going to turn this into a soppy love story, because that's not my style. I love her to bits. I'd walk over broken glass with a woman. Wonderful lady, still is. But I'll say this, some things, just between the two of us, so we'll leave it at that. But I'll say this much, she became the reason kind of stopped feeling like somewhere where I landed and started feeling like somewhere where I belong. We built a life together the way, most people do. One ordinary decision at a time. Work, yeah. A home, the kind of routine that feels boring while you're living it and precious once you look back on it. So, okay, my little puppy wants to say, hi a minute. Come on, there you go. There she is, yeah. Yeah, you just behave. She's getting older, aren't we all? Aren't we all? Yeah, she's deaf, blind, and nearly blind. Anyway, what was I? So, sorry. I kept working with my hands, give me a hammer, I'll build you a house, or paintbrush, I'll paint you an apartment block. Give me a computer, I'll probably end up destroying the world. Not tech savvy. So, and the trade I learned as a teenager, in England, painting, decorating, all the practical know-how that comes with it, not just the painting side of it, but everything. Followed me across the ocean. It turns out that a journeyman's skill here is worth something, no matter what side of the Atlantic you're standing on. But I found out more here than over there, because there's less journeymen around. So I picked up work here and there, the way tradesmen do, one job leading to another. And eventually, my wife and I found our way to a small plot of land, house, 1,400 square foot on 4 lots of land. Beautiful, really, really is. Quiet, very small town. Room to breathe. We did have a shepherd. She passed away, as they do. And you say never again. Rescued this little wench quite a few years ago, so she's had a good life, and I'll be sad when she goes, but we do it all over again. We always do. So, yeah, it was, by any honest measure, a good life. The kind of life a 17-year-old apprentice in Somerset couldn't have pictured himself sanding down a door in a building that doesn't exist to him anymore. I want to be honest about something. During those years, I genuinely did not think about asbestos. Not in any real way, you know. It wasn't some deliberate buried memory. I wasn't avoiding it. It was just wasn't relevant anymore, you know. That was a teenager's job in a country I left for a company that probably didn't even remember my name. Life had moved on, and so have I, or so had I. And that's one thing about this disease that I think people don't understand until it actually happens to them. It doesn't ask you if you're ready. It doesn't check whether you've built a good life first, you know. It just waits quietly in the background for however many decades it takes. Each case is different, each person's different, you know, each body's different. So years went by, kept working, kept using the trade I learned as a kid. And eventually an opportunity came along that felt exactly the kind of thing this new life was supposed to be. A proper job, no longer self-employed, you know, using my background at a hospital. I was offered a full-time job as a painter decorator, and he wanted journeyman. Perfect. So I walked towards that opportunity without no shadow of a doubt in my mind at all. But you already know what was waiting for me on the other side of that routine TB test. I told you about that in episode 1. The doctor. The question I never saw coming. My mind rewinding. Leave my cup of tea alone. Rewinding. Sorry. Hey, quit it. Where was I? Okay, yeah, TB test, sorry. The doctor, the questions I never saw coming. My mind rewinding straight back to being 17 years old at the Hobby Horse Inn. What I didn't tell you then was everything that came before that moment. The new country, my wife, the acreage, small as it may be, but is ours. All those years of thinking that chapter of my life was well and truly closed. It wasn't closed. It was just waiting for its cue. Its cue to kick me in the ass. So hard. I'm still smarting from it. You know. I'm gonna put her down a minute before she decides to jump, and it might break her little leg. So say bye-bye. Yeah, give me a haircut. As you can see, again, no editing. And we're getting to the basically the end of. We got one more chapter after this, and that's basically it. But I'm not going to stop. You know, I want you to be, whoever watches, you know, to be involved, and then tell me, what do you want to know about my battle, how I'm coping, how did I fight against these bigwigs, you know, and finally having some recognition at the end of it that yes, it actually happened to me. No, I wasn't bullshitting, you know. So it's tough, really is tough. Let's open up conversations here, you know. Ask me questions or tell me your story. You know, were you involved with anyone in your family ever have this horrendous, life-changing disease? Because that's what it basically is, a blood disease, you know. And ask me why I'm still working. 68 years of age, in construction. Yeah, gets hard. Am I a workaholic? Yes, I am. Do I want to retire? Oh my God, yeah. I'm getting too old for this crap. But, new country, new rules, got to start over again. So, yeah, my pension just ain't going to cut it. So, it's going to be a tough one. But I'll try not to die on the job. I said that to her wife, better if I die on the job than not, because then she'd get the money, compensation from work or whatever, insurance. And then she threw something at me. So, anyway, this is a short one. So, again, I'm Dave. This is one breath at a time. No cure, no filter, just my story. And hey, don't forget, subscribe, like, and give that little bell a tinkle so you don't miss the next one. And remember, stay safe, look after each other, and take one breath at a time. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.